Okay guys, we've washed our forage. These are all spring forages. This is black raspberry. It does have 3 leaves, but it is on a thorny bush, so you know it's not poison ivy. This is Plantago narrowleaf plantain. If you notice, the veins are parallel. Very hard to misidentify any of these things. Curly dock or yellow dock, because the root is yellow. That part, all of it can be eaten from seeds to roots or used as medicine, especially the root is the most potent. Carolina geranium, we did a video on this not that long ago, just the other day. And these things are very, very useful. Can be used as teas, tinctures, poultices. You can use these internally, any one of them. High in vitamin C, healing properties. This one can be used to detox the body, and this one can be used to dry tissue, like skin tissue. So let's start with this. You can eat this raw. It's a little bit bitter. You can cook it or eat it or put it in a tea. If you use the roots, it's best to harvest them in the autumn. And like I said, this is a quick video because there's multiple plants and each one deserves its own explanation of things. So bitters have an effect on the stomach, and you want to, if you want to relieve any of the bitterness when you cook it, it'll relieve some of the bitterness to it. Now, this is usually consumed if flavor is something. I drink things without sweetener. At my teas, I like to taste each individual herb that I mix into a tea. But if you like to consume it with a better taste, you could use milk and cinnamon. That's what I've read. I've never done it myself. It sounds like it would be pretty good. So, on the medicinal uses of Carolina geranium, it can stop bleeding. It dries out the tissue, like I was telling you. You can use the roots or leaves as a poultice. So it's a styptic. You can create a compress, and then you can hold it to your wound, and it'll dry it out. It's kind of nice to know if you're out there and you get like say you fall and hit your head or something in your head. When you do that, there's a lot of blood. It's nice to know these things for those purposes. This is an excellent plant for salves. This is too. This is an excellent plant for salve. And as far as a tea, which ideally you want to use the root, but like I said, you have to it's best. You can use it. You can harvest it any time of year, but the roots are more potent in the autumn. So you can make a wash for canker sores with this. You can treat a sore throat with the root. And it may even have antiviral properties from what I've read. Now, it also affects, it's got 2 compounds in it that have been studied to be anti-hepatitis B. So that's HBV. And then when you harvest these, you want to harvest them when they're young, and then dry them for future use. I've already gotten a jar and a half of this, but I've been drinking the tea every day. It's been helping me so much getting through the hot and cold weather, and how your throat just wants to get sore, your body wants to get sick. Well, this combined with violet flowers and balsam mint, I've really seen a difference in like how much drainage occurs. I wasn't able to sleep. I was able to get barely 3 hours of sleep per night. Now I can sleep at least 6 and not even wake up with a sore throat with this type of weather going on. Things tend to grow when you need them. That's how good God is. And then when you make the leaf tea, if it's dried, you want to do 2 tablespoons of this, and you can use this right here. I don't get kickbacks from this. This is just my favorite. I've drank tea for years, and this is my favorite. I'm just going to remove this so you can see the name on the coaster. And it's the only one that will stay without floating out, and it'll stay in the cup or tea kettle. It's got a long chain to it. Both ends open up, and it's so easy to clean. It is my absolute favorite. I just got this from my daughter. It comes in a set of 2. It was on sale when I bought it, and it comes with a tea cloth that's the color of tea, so you'll never have to worry about it staining. Great product, so consider that. Now, if you make a tincture with this, you want to sterilize the glass in any tincture, and then you want to chop it, the root, fresh root, when you harvest it in the autumn. Hopefully you can get a half jar. Now, whenever you see this growing, it's growing everywhere. Most people hate it. They don't know what it is. They hate it. But remember this plant. The reason why, okay, so the name, one of the other names is crane's bill, because the fruit on it looks like a crane's bill, a crane's beak. And it usually has pink or lavender type flowers right before the fruit. And you'll see this on very long stems sprawling out from a base. Okay. Next up on our list is curly dock, better known as yellow dock, like I was telling you earlier, because of the root. And so you want to also harvest the root. That's where the medicinal value is. Every part of this plant can be eaten, even the seeds. This plant, I like cooking it. It tastes like it's thick and leathery skin, like kale or turnip or mustard greens, and it's tough. You want to cook it for like at least 10 minutes. I like the lemony flavor of this. The older it gets, the more bitter it gets, and you can tell it's getting older because this could be a little bit of frost damage too, because it's been really cold. This plant usually has flower stalks grow from it. It reminds me of quinoa, but it's green, and it'll grow about 2 feet tall, actually. So you want to, it's easy, easy to identify plant. See how the leaves are ruffled and curly, and even at the stem, it's kind of ruffled, if you can tell. Maybe the back is better. There you go. So the curly dock is known for its detoxifying characteristic. Greater burdock is even more potent than this, but it can be also used similarly to the plantain for any insect bites, and it'll remove the sting or itching. It's great for also constipation and diarrhea. For the root is definitely the strongest part of the plant. But the leaves, it's kind of like it's a safe laxative, first of all, and it's mild. It has a mild effect. It depends on, I guess, the individual. Some people are more sensitive than others. This is also useful for externally treating a lot of skin problems because of its cleansing properties. You can take it internally as a tonic. You can dry it or pound the root to make a poultice or salve, and then you can apply it directly to your sores, wounds, and even other skin problems. It's a bitter tonic, so if you make a tonic out of this, it is a bitter tonic for the gallbladder and liver. It increases bile production, like we were talking about, and it actually is a powerful cleanser. Like I said, greater burdock is even more potent. So you want to, as far as, you can dig up the entire plant. You can use every bit of it. But in the fall, you want to dig up the root. And of course, you want to avoid any dead leaves or anything like that. You can make a tincture out of it, which means that you would take something that's at least 80 proof drinking alcohol, not rubbing alcohol. Do not use rubbing alcohol. Put it, You can fill it up with the fresh herbs or fresh part of the plant all the way full, including the root. You want to use the root if you can rather than this, or dry it and use half a jar. Shake it up I do mine every day. I'll shake it, but you can shake it maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Keep it in a cool, dark place. And then after 6 to 8 weeks, you want to strain the plant matter out. And then you want, with a cheesecloth or something that gives you a pure product, and then you want to store it. It can last up to 7 years. So that's the quick go through for curly burdock. Now, so next up is the plantago, and I have these parallel veins. You can see it on this side. You can eat these. They're pretty fibrous, so you want to cook them if you do, and you want to do it while they're young. You can grind the seeds into flour. They actually use the husks of the seeds to make Miralax, which is a laxative. So that tells you a little bit about what its medicinal value is, or medicinal uses are. And then this is, when made into a poultice or salve or oil or anything, you can heal a major wound and possibly not even have a scar. I have proof from a motorcycle muffler burn on my calf a few years ago. I put a poultice on it. It took a few months to heal. It was that bad of a burn. And then once it healed, there was no scar whatsoever, hardly left on it. There were some pits where burns create little pits in your skin, but even those smoothed out. So making a salve or oil or a poultice with this is very, very, very good. It also can help with snake bites, and when taken internally and externally. If you get stung by a bee, or if you get bit by something outside, go crush one of these up. And I mean, this will do too, but this is one of my favorite forages, and you can benefit from this. Any of these plants, you can benefit all throughout summer. It's just stronger and more potent in the spring, because all the energy from the plant is just, in the leaves, into growing them. So this is also good for your autoimmune diseases and leaky gut. It's good for your respiratory tract, cystitis, diarrhea, ulcers, colitis. Let's see what else I can think of. Your respiratory tract infections, you can take that, and it'll help with that. It also helps with constipation. Like I was telling you earlier, Miralax is used. The husks of the seeds is used to make that. So it helps with also toothaches, swollen gums, sore throats, even intestinal worms. So, and anybody with inflammatory bowel syndrome can benefit from using plantain. Now, the seeds look like has this little flower that we used to shoot off at each other when we were young as kids, when toys were just out of reach for most middle-class families. You just didn't go to the store and buy a toy. You were lucky if you got a Happy Meal toy every tax season. Times are seeming like they're heading that way again, but anyway, like I was telling you, if you boil the seeds, you put boiling water over the seeds, let it steep for about 15 minutes, and then you can drink it. It'll help you with your stomach issues. It'll help you with constipation. It'll help you with parasites. You can also make a tincture, again with 80 proof alcohol. Do the same way. If it's fresh, fill it all the way up to the top of the jar. Pour your alcohol in there. If it's dried, fill up half the jar. Shake it at least 3 to 4 times a week, leaving it in a cool, dark place. And then once you strain out the plant matter and get the pure product, the pure tincture, you will be able to store that for up to about 5 years if you don't contaminate it. Contaminating it means using something that's not clean and putting it into the jar or, you know, taking the tincture with a spoon and then dipping it in again, the saliva will start breaking it down and ruining the product. So you don't want to do that. You can make a tea out of this. Again, my favorite strainer. And if you put it in a cup of boiling water, you'll take a tablespoon of the fresh plantain or even dried. You let it steep for about 10 minutes and strain out the leaves and drink it. So again, you won't have to do that with this. It just makes it so much easier. So last but not least is black raspberry leaf. The berries are not in yet. These are wild. They're everywhere on this land. A lot of people call them brambles. They hate them. My goats love them. This is been used to treat, well, there's no, just to let you guys know, there is no good studies really for this, but it has been used to treat mouth cancer. Is known to be really high in antioxidants, more so than red raspberries, and it will cut off the blood supply for tumors, or stop the blood supply for tumors. And now I can't say it'll cure anything, but it's a great preventative to have. You want to keep some of this. Don't eradicate it all. I have my goats they eat this all the time, which is good for them. It's good for you too, to make tea out of, and to even eat the berries. So you can crush the berries up into a powder. You want to make your tea with berries and the leaves, or even just the leaves, to get the more potent parts of the plant in your system. So there's a lot of benefits to this plant. Just look it up for yourself. I believe I saw it on the WebMD. So there's a lot of things that people don't understand these days about natural benefits of what they call weeds, or what they try to eradicate out of the yard without even knowing that they're trading their health for a perfect lawn. And you don't want to do that. Our animals help us control a lot of this stuff because they'll eat it. Our goats will eat this, and it keeps it manageable. It'll stress the plant out where it's not growing so wild and everywhere. And then it'll give time for other things in the seed bank within the soil to start growing that the land may need. There's so many things that your land will go through, similar to your body, to try to heal itself. And if you prevent those things from happening, you're doing yourself a great disservice to how God created everything. So take time, research each one of these. Don't just take my word for it. Don't ever take anybody's word for it. I think that's the problem we have these days with, being prescribed things that cause side effects, and then getting more prescriptions on taking care of the side effects that, that particular thing is caused. So, and it just is a chain reaction of never-ending medication. When you could have a diet that helps you with your health, prevents things from happening, not letting it get there, to a point where you're suffering. So there's a lot. These are great things they're easily identified, all three of these. This one is a leaf of 3, but the bush has got little thorns all over it. So you're going to know that it's not poison ivy. There's hardly any other lookalikes for these things. These plants that I'm showing you. They're very easy to identify, but you have to make sure you're 100% accurate. And when you're foraging, you can't afford a mistake. And we're starting off with these 4 for this video so that you can understand that, wow, these weeds they shouldn't be frustrating you. You should be very thankful that you see them. Anyway, I hope you have a great day.